Another weekend down, another awesome Bleach episode. So, this episode, of course, was another good fight episode, full of a lot of different sides coming in. The biggest thing, though, is Ichigo coming on the scene. And boy, did he show up and show out. But before we get into more of the actual episode, let's get to the differences. There's 4 big differences that was in this episode. Number 1, in the anime, Kenpachi actually gets hit with a lightning bolt first, i.e. this frame here, and, gets stunned, if you will. And the actual manga, after Kenpachi tells his men to go find his lieutenant, they're like, okay, Captain, and they start running away, and as soon as they're running away, they are the ones that get hit by the lightning bolt. And then Kenpachi kind of looks and it's like, what hit them? And it's like, oh, you girls did this? What they actually did, the events were kind of reversed. They actually, in the anime, made Kenpachi seem more of a monster. He actually lived longer and got hit more often. While in the actual manga, he just straight up started attacking them after his men got decimated by all the girls. He started attacking them, they all ganged up on him, and he was down. It was pretty simple and pretty quick. So they kind of elaborate a little bit more on that in the anime. Another difference was the fact that these girls actually powered up in the anime, but in the manga they did not. These specific 3. In the manga, it was a lot quicker of a fight. Ichigo showed up, showed out, hit all the girls, knocked them away and such. And of course, the girl with the electrifying was the biggest hindrance, being in the way. Then went to the scene where he fired. Skitsuko moved to her and then her arm went off. So this whole part of the anime where the girls actually power up and attack him with their own special moves was kind of just added in to fill the gap of the episode and actually show how powerful Ichigo is. So all of them doing their special moves was nowhere to be found in the manga. The third thing that was different was the fact that the explanation about Ichigo and his clothes coming from Zero Squad and how because he came down, he actually made it to where Iwacha can actually go up and reach Soul King's palace. This was not explained by this captain. It was actually explained by Iwacha as Ichigo was running to him. He was able to, I guess, project his voice, and he explained to Ichigo how, hey, we're about to leave because of what you're wearing, and thank you for that. And of course, then came the Uryu thing, which actually goes to the 4th thing. Here, when Uryu basically fired his volley of arrows, it actually did not even harm Ichigo. Of course, in anime, it showed Ichigo get hit. As you can see in the background, he got actually hit with the arrow on his side, as well as the scratch around his cheek. That never happened. And it wasn't even Chad to come in and actually block the arrows. It was Orihime came in as the arrows were coming in. It was one of those panels where basically the arrows are coming and then all of a sudden Orihime is there and blocks all of them. So the arrows didn't even touch Ichigo. But like I said, they kind of added this aspect to show more conflict between Uryu and Ichigo, which I guess is fine. I mean, I hate the fact that this episode did have a little bit more filler, but the filler that it did have, the fights with Ichigo actually were satisfying. So it wasn't like they were just sitting there talking and all that. Now, there were some other differences, but of course, the differences were more main speech and like what is said between people and such. And I believe there's a few things that was in between that will probably be on the next episode as well. So those are the main differences for this episode. For those that were wanting to know, I think it's good to know that for the future. Now, in an almost blink if you miss it moment, we get a glimpse, cameo, whatever shot, whatever you want to call it, of our boy Aizen, who has been locked away in their jail, if you will, for quite some time. But of course, of how powerful he is, I mean, I guess they need all hands on deck. He might actually be appearing some more in the future, because there's no way they would just show Aizen here and then it's like, oh, we're just never gonna have him shown anymore in the future. Nah, they don't give us hints like this without some information about it in the future. So it would not surprise me if our boy Aizen because he is technically a Soul Reaper, and because he's a Soul Reaper, he's against. Now, granted, he was against the other Soul Reapers as well, but you know, the enemy of my enemy is my friend type deal. So Aizen technically will probably be an ally to everyone getting their tails whooped, the Soul Society. So it's very interesting they actually showed Aizen here. So maybe, I mean, maybe even next episode, but maybe in the future, we'll definitely be seeing more of Aizen, because Lord knows, completely forgot about this guy. And, but they don't show glimpses without reminding you like, remember this? Remember this one? So yeah, I'll be looking forward to seeing what they plan to do with Aizen in the future. Overall, the betrayal of Uryu is pretty interesting. Like, they really are overblowing it, or not even overblowing it, but they're really emphasizing it a lot. Now, of course, it's emphasized a lot in the actual show itself. That's a given, because even that is in the manga. But they're really emphasizing it a lot in even the theme song. And they're trying to push the whole narrative between Uryu and Ichigo. But if memory serves me right, and I'll be honest, I cannot for the life of me remember what arc it was, but I believe Uryu was an enemy in one of the previous arcs of Bleach in the past as well, but then turned sides at the end and was actually a good guy. Now, like I said, I'll admit, I've tried thinking about it, I've tried looking into it, and I completely do not remember what arc it was, but I have a feeling that Uryu might do the same thing again. I think Uryu is trying to work the enemy side to see, because Yawacha is a big issue. He is a big problem, even for the Quincy's, and as Uryu is a Quincy, he's able to kind of infiltrate from the inside out. That's my guess. I don't know, of course, it's true or not, but like I said, I'm pretty sure that there was a time, and you guys can tell me in the comments, because I've watched a lot of Bleach, but the problem is all the Bleach that I watched were like at least a decade ago. So I cannot remember exactly the exact arc, but I'm pretty sure that there was one where he was supposed to be an enemy, but then he's actually an ally working from the inside. We'll see if that actually is the case. I mean, for all I know, he really is an enemy and that Ichigo has to fight him and take care of him, but we shall see. But besides that fact, overall, this episode was kind of straightforward. And I've already told you about the differences of the different things that they did, and even those differences were just more of the actual fights. Pretty interesting that Squad Zero would actually, Squad Zero already knew that Yawacha was going to come up to them. Because as we know, the Soul King is what Yawacha's going for, and actually was what Aizen wanted to go for back in the day. That was his thing, that he wanted to go for the Soul King, but he didn't even step foot in the Soul King Palace. But now the enemies have gotten to the Soul King Palace, so we'll see how that works out in the future episodes. But the key is Squad Zero knew by giving Ichigo the special armor and everything like that, that it would be something that the enemy will come up to them. So because they knew that, I guess they're planning to take care of matters themselves. And, you know, of course, have Ichigo help his friends, but when the big bad comes, they're gonna do it. So we shall see what happens in the next few episodes, because, I mean, there's some serious fights here, but there's gonna be even more serious fights in the future. Regardless of that fact, let me know what you guys think. I hope I pointed out some things you might not have known, especially if you're not a manga reader. We will definitely discuss more of this anime and several others here on the channel, so make sure you guys subscribe, hit that button, hit the notification so that way you know more is coming in the future, and make sure you like the video, and definitely comment down below what you guys are thinking about Bleach right now. Hey, I personally like Bleach. I love Bleach. It's been one of the top ones, and even the music is really good. And it was actually cool in this episode the way they did the music a little differently, kind of like a pop thing. But regardless of that fact, you guys take care, be safe, and Lord willing, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now. Make sure to check out the extra content on our Patreon page, and thanks to our current patrons.
what you want, bitch, I'm a fucking phenomenon.